I surround myself with positive, productive people of goodwill and decency. Where you have the most armed citizens in America, you have the lowest violent crime rate. Where you have the worst gun control, you have the highest crime rate. I'm not in the leftist-controlled rock and roll hall of fame because of my political views, primarily my lifelong militant support of the NRA, the Second Amendment, and my belief that the only good bad guy is a dead bad guy. I am classic rock revisited. I revisit it every waking moment of my life because it has the spirit and the attitude and the fire and the middle finger. I am Rosa Parks with a Gibson guitar. Gibson has been making the finest electric guitars the world has ever witnessed for over 70 years. They are as American as God, guns, and rock and roll. I'm healthy, have a loving and adorable family, great hunting dogs, a gravity-defying musical career, and most importantly, fuzzy-headed idiots hate me. Vegetarians are cool. All I eat are vegetarians, except for the occasional mountain lion steak. There are hundreds of millions of gun owners in this country, and not one of them will have an accident today. The only misuse of guns comes in environments where there are drugs, alcohol, bad parents, and undisciplined children. Period. Hopping the fence or wading the Rio Grande River isn't part of America's immigration process. I'm the gun guy, a loud guitar Dirty Harry with a ponytail. The government is so out of control. It is so bloated and infested with fraud and deceit and corruption and abuse of power. I have self-actualized. Pardon me whilst I adjust my glowing halo. If there is one thing I am, it's always right. I am the great white buffalo, and I play an American-made Gibson guitar that can blow your head clean off at 100 paces. I hunt the wild to take it all in, there is no bag limit on happiness. Without question, Gibson guitars are the finest, most revered guitars on the planet. The war is coming to the streets of America, and if you are not keeping and bearing and practicing with your arms, then you will be helpless, and you will be the victim of evil. At 62, I remain clean and sober, and my ponytail remains erect. Mankind, a quality of life upgrade is available to each and every one of you. It should give you a quality of life upgrade, which means no drugs, no alcohol, no fast food, unless, of course, it's a mallard. Without question, the Red Ryder BB gun is the most important gun in the history of American weaponry. Americans have the right to choose to be unarmed and helpless. Be my guest. I have busted more hippies' noses than all the narcs in the free world. There's an absolute surety to the hands-on conservation lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and trapping where you know you're going to consume today. Fortunately, as it pertains to guns, my dad and uncle introduced me to guns the way it needs to be done, smart, slow, and safe. Look what venison does to a goofy guitar player from Detroit. I'm going to be 54 this year, and if I had any more energy I'd scare you. Like the average American that I hang out with, and like my father before me, I raised all my children to respect tools and use them wisely and safely. Mr. Janet Reno. I think Mr. Janet Reno. I think he's one of the best hunting dogs in the world. While I now own more guns than the 82nd Airborne, my first gun is still the most important gun I've ever owned. My idea of fast food is a mallard. I clearly understood the concept of wise use before I ever heard the actual words, for my father wouldn't allow us to waste anything. Use your lives wisely, my friends, and conserve these precious freedoms for future generations. I don't pay to have my dirty work done for me. I do it myself. Liberalism is assisting quality of life, whatever you may choose. It was psychobabbler Abraham Maslow who wrote of the phenomena of self-actualization. What Maslow failed to grasp is that reaching true self-actualization can only be ultimately achieved when you have your own brand of ammunition. I don't want to be a rock star. I don't believe in rock stars. If you really examine what goes with being a rock star, I've avoided that really well. I think you should ride the line between fatigue and chaos. The chaos keeps the energy level and spontaneity maximized, while fatigue is just over the edge, and you should try to avoid it. There is no finer sonic-producing weapon for a guitar slayer than a handcrafted Gibson masterpiece. The good news is that real-world hands-on conservation is alive and well and catching on across the America I travel. Every hateful statement ever made about me is a dirty lie. For the Nugent family, fast food is a running herbivore. If America is a nation of laws as we proclaim, then our immigration laws are part of the package. Like all other law-abiding Americans, I fully support legal immigration. I'm so much fun. Every kid wishes I was their grandpa. I'm the Motor City Mad Gramps. I still tour like a man possessed, because I am. Do you want to feel good, or do you want to do good? War is good when good survives and evil is crushed. If you don't crush evil, then evil will get you. We were the first wave raised on Les Paul, Link Wray, Dick Dale and Scotty Moore. We were the first wave to say, more amps is better. We were using the same amps as Chuck, Barry, and Dwayne, Eddie. We just turned them up and discovered distortion is not an enemy. Big bangs don't make this. That's not a big bang. God made that. That's a liver. That's mystical. You and I can't make livers. Things banging don't make livers. This is mystical stuff. This is magic. This is perfection. Every study on crime and/or firearms proves time and time again that 99.99999% of American gun owners do not commit crimes or use our firearms in any dangerous or improper way. Eddie Van Halen is certainly one of the top innovative virtuosos in history. Anybody that believes they can get any product from an entrepreneur or the creator of artistic products for free is either stoned, drunk or brain dead or just stupid. That's not a big bang. God made that. That's a liver. That's mystical. If you want your body to be healthier, get off the Salmonella, E. coli, mad cow, assembly line toxic hell train. God, I love that statement. What did I just say? If you want to save a species, simply decide to eat it. Then it will be managed, like chickens, like turkeys, like deer, like Canadian geese. As long as we continue to fight in between the jamming with all we have to save America from the current suicidal death wish of the corrupt, criminal punks intentionally destroying the last best place. When you spend as much time as I do with wounded warriors and their families, and terminally ill kids and their families, you are humbled and powerfully inspired by their courage and positive energy to live your life to the absolute best you can every day. It will wake you up really fast to never stop believing. I'm stoned on my music. I'm intoxicated by my joyful calendar between the tours, and the hunting, and the charity work, and the family time, and just my lifestyle living on a ranch in Texas and back when I lived on my ranch in Michigan. It's the epitome of individual independence, self-sufficiency, hands-on, earthly celebration, and we tour every summer like complete animals. Everybody I hang with, the ranchers, the farmers, the cops, the teachers, the plumbers, everybody I hang with, they've got an alarm clock. They get up, they put their heart and their soul into being the very best that they can be. They want to be an asset to their families and their neighborhood. They want to be productive members of society. I put my heart and soul every day into showing my appreciation for the incredible sacrifices of the U.S. military heroes by using my freedom and rights that they provided and safeguarded at such sacrifice, to the best of my ability fighting the enemies at home. God knows America would be the greatest again if she operated like the Nugent family. No takers, no whiners, no gangsters, no dopers, no drunks, no criminals, no bloodsuckers, no excuse makers, no crybabies, no punks, no Obama supporters. I'm an extremist. I don't think so. I think people that call me an extremist are extremely brain-dead and soulless. Ignorance is indeed bliss, but it is also dangerous and embarrassing. Nobody is going to invest a fortune into good orchard land, all the farming equipment necessary, the fertilizer, the seedlings, the non-stop Herculean work effort needed to grow apples, then bring them to the fruit stand for people to take home for free. If you would force me to be unarmed and helpless, I would have to do everything in my power to neutralize you. Peace and love will get you killed. That doesn't sound like a hippie. I am a political animal, because for God's sakes I think we the people is a job. I think experienced self-government demands on all levels, intellectual, moral, historical, and spiritual level. We are supposed to be engaged and give directions to our elected employees. I've always identified myself with the warrior and good over evil, and you don't negotiate for good over evil. If you want peace and love, kill people that deny you that. I don't plan my recordings, I really don't. It's so spontaneous. I wish all rock lovers and rock journalists could witness a Ted Nugent recording session. It is so primal, it's like idiot kids in the garage with their first loud amplifiers. It's intoxicating, it is irreverent, it is uninhibited. I'm such a lucky guy. I've been able to make my own decisions for my own life for the last 50 years, or 60, well maybe not 60. Even though I think I was making my own decisions at the tender age of 8. The best musicians in the world were raised on the same kind of music I was raised on, and that is black, soulful, authoritative, ultra-tight, ferocious, uppity, defiant music that from the Howlin' Wolf, the Muddy Waters, the Lightnin' Hopkins, the Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, and Little Richard. We use our tax dollars to pay some bureaucrat to kill a mountain lion, dig a hole and bury this precious beast. No one gets to eat it, nobody gets to buy licenses, fees and taxes themselves. And that's only after a mountain lion has killed somebody. Oh my God! And the Osbournes are still number one. The preponderance of South Africa is a different breed of man. I mean that with no disrespect. I say that with great respect. I love them because I'm one of them. They are still people of the earth, but they are different. They still put bones in their noses, they still walk around naked, they wipe their butts with their hands. And when I kill an antelope for them, their preference is the gut pile. And let's all be honest here, more of us believe in the American hero Sheriff Joe Arpaio's thorough investigation into your phony birth certificate and phony history than the phony media smoke and mirrors. When we learn from our cause and effect, we increase our positives, we chip away and hopefully eliminate our negatives, so we can be beneficial to everyone else. It's not about being good for me, it's about being the best that I can be so I can be a good husband, father, and neighbor. They got how many trillions of dollars in gold and silver and jewelry and art and real estate and stained glass, and they're passing the basket on Sunday so they can get the tomato farmer's donation. I hunt deer because they aren't capable of higher forms of thinking. All they care about is, what am I going to eat next, who am I going to screw next, and can I run fast enough to get away? They are very much like the French in that way. I indeed do respect all people for the positives in their life. Sadly, there comes a time of diminishing returns in the balance. At the end of the day, my respect is reserved for those solidly in the asset column of mankind. I write incessantly, I'm very productive, I write for 12 publications and blogs and websites. A lot of very hardcore political stuff. I write a weekly feature. I express myself. But when time comes to make music, with the same absolutely unleashing of total honesty, zero inhibitions, it just flows like a stream of conscientiousness because I will not be silenced no matter what my point might be. Our soldiers did not go to some foreign country and risk their lives in vain and defend our Constitution so that decades later you can tell me it's a living document ever changing and is open to interpretation. The guys who wrote it were light years ahead of anyone today, and they meant what they said. Now leave the document alone, or there's going to be trouble. Lance Bass needs to quit worrying about outer space and celebrate life by learning how to kill his own food. Only thing worse than a Frenchman is a Frenchman who lives in Canada. Only an abuser can make the decision to stop abusing. I like Dave Grohl, I guess he's a little newer. It makes you shake, it's uppity and spirited. I started singing with the Amboy Dukes in '87. I sang, Oh Baby Please Don't Go, the old Van Morrison song by Joey Smith. I started singing more from then on. May God be with you and the devil be crushed underfoot as you march for peace on the skulls of our enemies, for goodwill, security, and a quality of life that comes only with democracy. Unfortunately, there are people in America, there are people in politics, there are people in positions of authority, who want to forcibly unarm and force into helplessness American citizens. Chicken nuggets don't die any easier than baby fur seals. So listen everybody to what I got to say, there's hope for tomorrow, if we wake up today. If the coyote's in your living room pissing on your couch, it's not the coyote's fault. It's your fault for not shooting him. If you're not upsetting idiots, you might be an idiot. My life is a tsunami of inspirations. Number 1 is that I really do just love my barbecue. I mean, it's the sustenance of mankind. You know, the animal rights of people, if they had their way, 99% of the human race would perish because we sustain ourselves with dead stuff on the grill. I was a walking, talking hunk of human poop. You remember the night that you left me, you put me in my place. Got you in a stranglehold now, baby, gonna crush your face. My love is like a tire iron. The spirit of the woods is like an old good friend, makes me feel warm and good inside. I knew his name and it was good to see him again, 'cause in the wind he's still alive. I am always writing music. I have got unlimited ideas because I have been clean and sober for my entire life. Jerry Garcia got high and Jerry's dead. I went hunting and I'm still Ted. I know we just met today, but I gotta see you tomorrow. I know this is our first date, I don't expect you to swallow. There was a time when man stood strong, right was right and wrong was wrong. Sometimes too much tolerance can kill you. If you are tolerant of people poisoning themselves to death, they will drag you down. They will ruin your life by being intentional obstacles to your dreams. I can hear her thunder, she's coming after me, thunder thighs. The Indians they needed some food, and some skins for a roof. They only took what they needed, baby, millions of buffalo were the proof. Only criminals and bloodsuckers reward bad behavior. The culture war in America can best be described by the battle between workin' hard, playin' hard kickers that bust our ass to make America strong by earning our own way and kickin' maximum ass versus soulless weaklings who have been brainwashed into thinking they are entitled to a free ride. I have undeniable evidence that many have awakened as a result of my Raising Hell. Raising Hell is so American rock and roll. And of course even soulless wimps love killer music and my incredible guitar tone. If you don't have a sense of humor, you'll hurt yourself arguing with me. Whack M, stack M and pack M. I don't partake in assembly line convenience. I don't say that killing things is bad while I hire people to kill things for me. I'm militantly anti-drug abuse but love everything Keith Richards and some other drug goofballs do. I'm repulsed at the concept of man-on-man sex. I think it's against nature. I think it's strange as hell, but if that's what you are, I love you. I'm not going to judge another's morals. I say live and let live. I have friends that are gay. I don't objectify women. I'd like to think that I'm optimizing their hardware. If Elvis Presley had been a bow hunter, he'd probably be alive today. I ceased cleansing my body. 2 weeks before the test I stopped eating food with nutritional value. A week before, I stopped going to the bathroom. I did it in my pants. My pants got crusted up. Music is the great connector. Well, on that day I ceased cleansing my body. No more brushing my teeth, no more washing my hair, no baths, no soap, no water. 30 days of debris build. I stopped shaving and I was 18, had a little scraggly beard, really looked like a hippie. Then 2 weeks before, I stopped eating any food with nutritional value. Then a week before, I stopped going to the bathroom. I did it in my pants. Poop, pissed the whole shot. My pants got crusted up. We hunt and fish or will go nuts dealing with the criminal behavior of our elected officials. Trump represents the ultimate anti-status quo sucker punch. I really have the American dream licked. I didn't invent the middle finger, but I perfected the use of it. Well, at the very beginning of the Amboy Dukes, I was doing background but I never sang my own songs. I would sing them for the guys to show them how I wanted the songs to go, but I always had lead vocalists. What the hell is social justice? What sort of fool can imagine income equality as dictated by bureaucrats and government thugs? I dare anyone to attempt to explain those drug-inspired fantasies in meaningful terms. It grabs me, but not as much as it grabs some of the other people that rave about them. With the Black Keys, I'm missing crescendos with the sax, keyboard or guitar solo. It never comes to me. All my favorite music is rife with crescendo and I'm not hearing enough with them. If you can get the Black Keys to hear this, tell them I offer my crescendo guitar anytime they desire it. Oh God Almighty, another Detroit monster is Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers. Their music is intoxicating between Flea and Chad Smith. They're contemporary because they're still making good records, but I don't think there's anything new that has a groove and soulfulness. The Chili Peppers just stink of soul and that's the ultimate compliment. They continue what James Brown created. The families who chose me to take their terminally ill kids on their last hunts in life many times over the years know and love the real Ted Nugent. That they decide I'm good enough to take part in such a spiritual and emotional moment in their lives proves that I am good enough. I stop and think what they call punk rock today. Give me a break. Let me know when they can walk in the vapor trail of Little Richard, which was punk. You've got a gay black guy with a pompadour singing about Tutti Frutti with your white girl. FKU. Isn't my music the last of the real rhythm and blues? Isn't it great? It's because of my musicians. We were weaned on Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, all the founding fathers. The gods of thunder, who invented the foundation and the pulse of the greatest music in the world. I'd like to have James Brown as my singer. I already have the best drummer, Tommy Clufitos. I've jammed a bunch with John Entwistle, and it was like a musical orgy. That guy is a living, breathing, grunting rhythm. For horns, let's go with the Staxvolt guys, and I'm going to have Steve Cropper on standby just in case I want a rhythm guitarist. Let's be honest, if the Democrats didn't support ignoring our nation's immigration laws, there is no way they could win the presidency or a local dog catcher election. I don't care if it's Bruno Mars or Aerosmith or ZZ Top, it's about songs. Paperback Writer, Satisfaction, Cat Scratch Fever, Walk This Way. All the killer songs in the world start with an identifiable guitar pattern that is basically a bastardization of either honky-tonk or boogie-woogie. And that's in every cool piece of music in the world that you and I love. I heard guys say they got into rock and roll to pick up women. I didn't get into rock to pick up women, but I sure adapted. I stand humbled on bended knee, but, of course, the response to that would be, duh. And to be given that incredible honor means that I represent the piss and vinegar, the energy, the defiance, the musicality of the Funk Brothers and Motown and Mitch Ryder and Bob Seger, Brownsville Station and Grand Funk Railroad and Eminem and Jack White and Kid Rock. Are you kidding me? An uninhibited, Chuck Berry devotee but experimented with and broke a lot of ground on feedback techniques and solid variations in tonal and dissonant utilizations. I'm one of the best guitarists in the world, and I play with great emotion. To show you how radical I am, I want carjackers dead. I want rapists dead. I want burglars dead. I want child molesters dead. I want the bad guys dead. No court case. No parole. No early release. I want M dead. Get a gun and when they attack you, shoot M. Animals have rights, to be smothered with garlic and butter. Ozzy, God bless him, is super talented. He is a great man. He is a man of heart and soul and goodwill. He is a very funny man, but he is a perfect poster child of why I have never touched drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or fast food. How dare politicians continue to pass insane laws forcing good, law-abiding people to be defenseless and helpless. If you want less of something, tax it. If you want more of something, don't tax it or reduce the tax burden. Those original, black, spirited, defiant, rebellious musical masters. Chuck Berry was one of the first masters of Les Paul's new electric guitar. He pretty much laid down the gauntlet, and I don't think anybody's ever beat him since. Way before the British invasion, I was tuned into the black guys that created the British invasion. Without Howlin', Wolf, Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, Lightnin' Hopkins, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry, and the Motown hits, there would be no Beatles. With all due respect, many in the entertainment industry are deep into mind-altering substance abuse. And when one's logic and intellectual calculating powers are replaced with dopey feel-good, fantasy-driven denial, the Democratic Party serves them well. Green Day is politically brain-dead, but I love the Little Monkees. Practice, practice, practice. Practice until you get a guitar welt on your chest. If it makes you feel good, don't stop until you see the blood from your fingers. Then you'll know you're on to something. The way that you eliminate bad and ugly is either through activism and policy making that never tolerates evil instead of the liberal politically correct policy of accepting evil and accepting other points of views that destroy lives. We the thoughtful, productive people of America have got to take our freedom back. Whenever I donate a hunting trip for the Children's Leukemia Foundation, Ronald McDonald Cancer House, all these children's charities, I offer the anti-hunters an opportunity. If you donate more to the children's charity than the hunters donate, we won't go hunting. According to Democrats, it's racist, jingoistic and xenophobic to support enforcing America's immigration laws. What's next for Democrats? Labeling heterosexual sex as homophobic. You have to save the habitat, you have to save the population, not individual animals. What you want to save is the foundation, the basic infrastructure from which resources are produced. You can't save Fifi and Boo Boo and Thumper. I make a pussy purr with the stroke of my hand. Everyone, including Hillary Clinton, knows Hillary is an unsavory and unethical scoundrel, an obvious and accomplished liar, and, if America had a real Justice Department that actually cared about serving up equal justice under the law, she would be facing a number of felony charges. Organized religion is good for wars, battles, pissin', and moanin', and not much else. Apartheid isn't that cut and dry. All men are not created equal. If the American public were accurately polled, I suspect the results would find Bonnie Clyde, Bill Clinton, Ponzi scheme scamster Bernie Madoff, and the infamous Wiley Coyote be believed to be more honest and trustworthy than Hillary Clinton. If it was up to me, if you uttered the word gun control, we'd put you in jail. Every study on crime and/or firearms proves time and time again that 99.99999% of American gun owners do not commit crimes or use our firearms in any dangerous or improper way. Donald Trump is taking flack from the media, establishment Republicans, and all the Democrats for merely stating the obvious and the truth. Vladimir Putin is much more of a leader than President Obama. My haters are laughable punks, my supporters the greatest people that ever lived. Those that are goofy enough to believe the outrageous lies and hate spewed about me in the mind-numb media are inconsequential and pathetic. Those that know me are certain of my goodness and connect with me deeply. How many more times are we going to cower under tables and chairs, whimpering like mindless dogs, thinking that someone else has the responsibility to save and protect us? There aren't really any actual misconceptions, just dumb people versus good, honest people. Mao Zedong lives and his name is Barack Hussein Obama. This country should be ashamed. I wanna throw up. If you want to get a sensual thunderbolt, then you have got to be cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Doc. I find that whole milk and lots of vitamin D help. There are some power-abusing, corrupt monsters in our federal government that despise me because I have the audacity to speak the truth. There are multi-scatterings of various and associated issues and concerns, but it all boils down to accountable people versus those unwilling to be accountable. I contribute to the dead of winter and the moans of silence. Blood trails are music to my ears. I'm a gut pile addict. The pig didn't know I was there, it's my kick. I love shafting animals, it's rock and roll power. On my first bow hunt on the property a few years back, I was on my own for 22 days and killed an amazing 33 head of big game. I'm surprised I even came home. I was in heaven. My baby she'll take a chance, my baby got a brand new dance, Wongo Tango, Wongo Tango. You mean to say that when an imbecile walks into a church, office, daycare center, or school, stumbling about, almost zombie-like, with gun-filled hands at his side, blabbering incoherently to his next victim, the reaction of grown men and women is to run, cry, whimper, and hide under a desk or pew? The sheeping of America is nearly complete. Jesse Jackson and Al Not-So-Sharpton would be lisping their ebonic mumbo-jumbo that the policy and the president are racist and bigoted. Name me a society that doesn't love barbecue. It doesn't exist. Mankind is barbecue celebration. Brilliant thoughts flow with a life of their own to a dedicated reasoning predator up in a tree with a bow and arrow half the year meditating soulfully in anticipation to kill unsuspecting meat-infested herbivores. I was musically baptized by the black founding fathers of rock and roll, and like all real music lovers, the music changed, enriched, upgraded and fortified our lives forever. Anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead. If we want our bodies to be healthier, we need to get off the salmonella, E. coli, mad cow, assembly line toxic hell train. God, I love that statement. What did I just say? The heartbreak of runaway corruption, abuse of power and indefensible criminality by our government and media must inspire all good we the people Americans to wake the hell up from the embarrassing curse of apathy and start demanding constitutional accountability from our elected employees. How radically non-sheep of me. If guns cause crime, all of mine are defective. We are a nation of laws, not a nation that ignores laws if it benefits the Democrat Party. Hunting is the last perfect thing. If Barack Obama becomes the president in November again, I will either be dead or in jail by this time next year. The spirit of America is all about defiance, and the best music like mine is the freedom soundtrack. The Second Amendment of our Bill of Rights is my concealed weapons permit, period. When the law disarms good guys, bad guys rejoice. My band and music are so intense they scare me, and I'm not afraid of anything. We love our music with everything we got and deliver the most inebriating fun concerts on earth every night. I don't like repeat offenders, I like dead offenders. My memory bank has overflowed out of control forever. I'm surprised my smile hasn't killed me yet. I have lived an indescribable, joyful, adventurous, musical dream life, and it just gets better every year. I'm a lucky man. I mean, the people I surround myself with are so inspiration. They're so motivational and they're so dynamic and positive. You really can't stop that positive force when everything and everyone around you is so positive. I'm beginning to wonder if it would have been best had the South won the Civil War. A man must stand up for what he believes in, especially in this culture war between good and evil. I never thought too highly of anyone foolish enough to take on the nickname of a life-destroying dope product and promote such family-destroying conduct on stage. I have a job to pay attention. It is my number one duty as a human being, to earn an experiment in self-government every day by spotlighting cockroaches who violate their oath to the U.S. Constitution and wipe their ass with the U.S. Constitution. Real Americans don't back down. Pat Buchanan was fired by MSNBC for doing nothing more than voicing his rock-solid conservative thoughts on the otherwise failing network. The real message of the left is intolerance, zealotry, bigotry, and hate. The left has no use for the First Amendment or the rest of the Constitution unless it fits their multicultural, Euro-socialist agenda, which is failing all across Europe and everywhere it is practiced. I have obviously failed to galvanize and prod, if not shame, enough Americans to be ever vigilant not to let a Chicago communist-raised, communist-educated, communist-nurtured subhuman mongrel like the Acorn community organizer gangster Barack Hussein Obama to weasel his way into the top office of authority in the United States of America. Donald Trump wants to dramatically reduce America's corporate tax rate to 15% and thereby unleash economic growth. Hillary Clinton hasn't said a word about lowering corporate tax rates. Being a Fedzillocrat, you don't need to be an economic soothsayer to know that she supports taxing the producers and further strangling America's anemic economy. God gave us the gift of life. It is the most precious gift ever. To be unarmed is to be helpless to protect that gift. That is outright irresponsible. I'm aware of Yusef Lateef and Sun Ra and John Coltrane. My music cup runneth over. I try to encourage people, don't cut anything off, don't limit yourself. Give it a good listen, you might find something in that goofy Sun Ra noise, that dissonance. Before I learned official musicality, which you should avoid at all costs, I listened to some Sun Ra and Yusef Lateef and John Coltrane, and that's where Journey to the Center of the Mind came from. When you intentionally and aggressively pursue musical communication with those powerfully impactful musical geniuses, you will pick up something. I do media every day I tour, and the travel itself is a bit testing, so I don't get to do much gregarious activity when I'm on the road. But I do enough barbecuing and enough hanging out and training with enough law enforcement and military to keep me bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and to make sure my guitar solos every night breath fire. If you want to save a species, simply decide to eat it. Then it will be managed, like chickens, like turkeys, like deer, like Canadian geese. President Obama is viewed by much of the world as feckless, weak, and incompetent, even anti-American, and that's by nations who are our allies and friends. As it pertains to China, Iran, and North Korea, who just set off a nuclear weapon, they spit in America's face. They have no respect for America, and they sure as hell have no fear of America. To my mind, it is wholly irresponsible to go into the world incapable of preventing violence, injury, crime, and death. How feeble is the mindset to accept defenselessness! How unnatural! How cheap! How cowardly! How pathetic! James Brown's Live at the Apollo is not just a musical whiplash, it's a spiritual cleansing. You can just close your eyes and see him doing the splits, kicking the mic stand and doing a 360. There will come a time when the gun owners of America, the law-abiding gun owners of America, will be the Rosa Parks, and we will sit down on the front seat of the bus. Case closed.